Welcome back to another episode of the All Takes No Whiffs podcast. We got another great episode lined up this week. We're going to be talking about some stuff around Major League Baseball. The AL and NL wildcard races have tightened up a lot. I think we got a new king of New York, Christian. I don't know what you think about that. And we're also going to be recapping the Vergil Ortiz fight and previewing the Teofimo Lopez versus Pedro Campa fight. And I'm really looking forward to this one and seeing if Teofimo can bounce back.
Before we move on real quick, I hate to be this type of Yankees fan, but I'm going to have to pull the card out. 27 rings! Just messing, but let's go. But before we get started, make sure to like and subscribe. We're new on YouTube, and we're about to take over. The rightful king of New York. They had to go on vacation. Something came up, so the Mets are taking their place right now. Nah, but in all seriousness, the Mets, they're really doing their thing. And as of right now, I know the record says it, and it's true. They're the best team in New York. Got to give them credit where it's due.
Yeah, as much as I don't want to admit it either, the New York Mets are probably honestly the best team in baseball right now, too. No one's really playing better than them. Their pitching is unbelievable right now. They got Jacob deGrom back. And Jacob deGrom looks like his usual self. He has not skipped a beat at all. He has been extremely dominant. Pitched 5 2/3 inning the other day against my Braves and struck out 12 people, which means he didn't strike out just 2 people, which is absolutely ridiculous, especially with how long of a layoff he's had.
Yeah, based off that minor league rehab start, I wasn't thinking he was going to come in. He's Jacob deGrom, I get it, but I wasn't thinking he was going to come in, his usual self, maybe find his footing, something like that. But no, he decided, hey, I'm just going to be me. And I'm praying for the rest of the league because Jacob deGrom, that is the last pitcher I think any baseball player, pro, at any level, he might be the last pitcher you want to face when it comes to his stuff. So praying for the league, like I said. And yeah, the Mets have just been playing out of their mind. I know that they're on a really good stretch of baseball. Last time I saw, they were 13-2 in their last 15, and I'm sure that's better now. They've won the past couple of days too. The Mets, they just, as much as I hate to say it, they're the best team right now, but I still got us in a Subway Series if that were to ever happen. I'm not going to get ahead of myself though, because we haven't been there since 09.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of looking towards that way. I know one thing right now is your New York Yankees are struggling pretty mightily right now. The bats really aren't there. Aaron Judge has kind of slowed down a bit, hasn't slowed down much, but he hasn't been as productive lately. But that whole lineup, I mean, y'all just have kind of gone cold lately.
A big factor towards our success in the first half, who's basically just disappeared for some time now, is Anthony Rizzo. At the same time, though, I wasn't really expecting him to maintain it for that long because I feel like I've been vocal on Anthony Rizzo. I'm a big fan. It's just that, like, at the end of his tenure with the Cubs, I did feel like he was on the decline. So I can't say I'm surprised about this, even though I was really excited about how he was playing in the first half. But every team has their struggles. I'm not going to get too ahead of myself with it. It is a little alarming at the same time when you're approaching the postseason. But I feel like they'll have time to figure something out. And I'm not saying that this is going to change the tide, but the Yankees need to call up Oswald Peraza, in my opinion. Isaiah Kiner Falefa, he's not a bad baseball player. It's just that I feel like Peraza would provide more productivity out the gate to start his career at shortstop. It's just Falefa, he's not a plus at anything really. It's just he kind of just fills the role.
Yeah, I feel like bringing up Peraza too would maybe give a little spark to y'all's offense, bring a little more life, kind of like when Michael Harris was brought up for us. After that happened, we took off, and you never know, you may need that. And Oswald Peraza is one of the best prospects in all of baseball right now. He's great shortstop, pretty good bat, got some pop, and I'm looking forward to him come up, and I hope he kind of gets called up when they expand the rosters to 40 men after this August 31st.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing if the Yankees decide to do that. They've been holding him down long enough, and if that were to be the case that he gets called up to the 40 man, do you think any of the other prospects would, like Volpe? I'm not going to say Dominguez. He's still too much of a work in progress.
I mean, maybe. I just don't know where he would play. I mean, definitely could be a bench bat, but I think they would rather have him down in the minors getting more reps
Mm.
and stuff. Maybe call him up once the minor league season is over, but I don't think they would call up Volpe right now because they would call up just one of them, either Volpe or Peraza. So because I mean, you got LeMahieu, you got Rizzo, and you got Gleyber Torres, who are in 3 of the 4 infield spots. So there's really only one available. And Glaber's been a lot better this year than people have thought.
Yeah, that's true. I feel like when it comes to Glaber, the thing is even though he's playing a lot better than people have been thinking, the numbers aren't too crazy. Like they're solid. They're not crazy. And for the hype that Glaber has received in the past couple of years, yeah, I would say he's still not meeting expectations. So maybe those expectations were unfairly put on him when he got traded to the Yankees, or he still has time to figure it out. But as of right now, even if Glaber is not playing to his best, I agree that I would preferably have him instead of like one of the guys getting called up because Glaber, he does have experience in the MLB. But I do think when it comes to Volpe and Peraza, I personally think Peraza should be the one to get called up and like given the opportunity to receive a spot on this team. But when it comes to Volpe, I think giving him some reps in September wouldn't be too bad. Let him get a look. Get some rest in for any of those infielders to get ready for the playoffs. I wouldn't mind that.
Yeah, I can see that, and I definitely think they'll bring him up once the rosters expand, and especially after the minor league season is over. And he's definitely one of those guys who can bring a spark to your team too. Him or Peraza. I mean, those are 2 great prospects to have, and the fact that y'all still have him after the trade deadline is kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy, but at the same time, based off Frankie's first start,
Not very good. Not very good.
yeah, and I'm still gonna be hopeful for Frankie because he has the stuff. It's within his capabilities for sure. It's just he's got to figure something out. But at the same time, I'm not going to put it all on Frankie. He's just a dude that we just picked up to try to fill in a need that we had. But but as of right now, I really wouldn't have mind if we gave up a prospect or two for a better arm because I see Frankie's potential, but we need results now. And he could bring it, but he didn't in his first start.
Yeah, and trading Jordan Montgomery away doesn't look too smart right now. He pitched the gym against y'all the other day. His
Diced
first
us
start
up.
with St. Louis, so
Diced us up. But hey, I'm glad to see him succeeding. Although I would have liked that impact on our team. And I know I said recently that I wasn't too sad about him leaving. And honestly, I'm still not. I know he's a good pitcher, but we were trying to address needs, and on paper at the time it really looked like Frankie Montas was a better pitcher than Montgomery. So not saying that he like was this picking up Frankie was to replace Jordan Montgomery, but we didn't need that extra depth, and it wasn't a big deal to me, and it still really isn't, as long as it doesn't fold once it comes to October.
yeah, I wouldn't put too much thought into it. It's just one start. I
Yeah.
know fans are gonna freak out. Oh, his first start, he was horrible. I mean, who cares? It's baseball. Everyone's gonna have one bad start here and there,
Hmm.
and maybe that was it. So hopefully Frankie will get a little better here throughout the rest of the year. But I think y'all are gonna be fine moving forward. Y'all are struggling a little bit right now, but y'all are gonna pick it up here in the next few weeks.
Yeah, and even then, I'm not worried about not making the playoffs. I feel like that's kind of a given. The Yankees are gonna have a spot by the end, most likely the division. But if things keep going south, we'll have a wild card spot. So it's not the end of the world for me.
Yeah, exactly. And speaking of the wild card, we have two great wild card races going on right now. The American League wild card is separated by 1.5 games right now between the first wild card and fourth place in the wild card, which would be out of the playoffs. So this AL wild card, it looks like it's coming down to the wire. And the AL Central, it's got three teams that are within one game right now. So two of those teams could possibly get in a wild card. Only one's going to win the division. So I'm super excited to see how this wild card and the AL Central, because these are really the two closest races in all of division or wild cards right now.
When it comes to the Central, off the top of the dome, who would you say you think has the best chance? Because me personally, I think it's the Twins.
See, I want to say the White Sox, but they've just been so disappointing all year long. Dylan Cease has been great this year. My front runner for Cy Young right now, but I don't. I would probably have to go Cleveland, to be honest. I think they're more experienced than Minnesota. I think they have a little more offense than Minnesota. Defense is kind of, it's okay, but if I had to pick, it'd definitely be Cleveland, and it's mainly because of Jose Ramirez.
Yeah, I see what you mean. J-Ram leading a squad to exceeding expectations, in my opinion. I wasn't really expecting Cleveland to be hanging at all at this point of the year, but they're here, and credit to them. I just feel like with the Twins, my personal bias might be coming into play here a little. I'm a big Byron Buxton fan, and I want to see Byron Buxton in the playoffs.
Yeah, I see that too. That lineup just is not very good in my eyes,
True.
to be honest. Carlos Correa, he had a hot start to begin the year, but he has not been very good since. Same thing with Buxton. I mean, Buxton's hit 26, 27 homers, but he's only batting like 220, or maybe even
Mhm.
worse than that. He's not as good this year as people really think he's been. Um, I just think that the Cleveland Guardians, I just think they're the best team in this division right now. Shane Bieber is definitely picking it up, getting more strikeouts than he was earlier this year, and I see them winning this division. I definitely see Minnesota getting a wild card spot, though.
Yeah. You know what surprised me the other day, Alex? I was just scrolling through social media and I saw that Shane Bieber's 27, either 27 or turning 27, and I was not expecting that. I thought this dude was like 28, pushing 29 maybe, but nah. Shane Bieber's young, dude.
Yeah, I honestly didn't realize that either. I thought he was a little older, especially since he's had injuries the past 2 or 3 years, and
Mhm. That was
I just
probably
think
the main reason. That was probably the main reason why I thought he was older. Yeah, he had some injury issues, and I was thinking age might be catching up to him a little early, but this is way too early if that's the case.
yeah, and I think he's figured it out. I mean, if you think about it, DeGrom's kind of in the same boat. DeGrom's a little older than him, I think, but he's been injury plagued the past few years, and hopefully he's past it.
I'm praying that he's past it, but my only issue is when you're pumping 101 consistently as a starting pitcher, no matter how different you're built, it's going to take a toll because that is gas. And straight up, throwing a baseball is not healthy for a human body. And imagine throwing it at that capacity. I I hope DeGrom is good for the rest of his career. I hope he doesn't have a single injury until he retires. But if I'm going to be realistic, I don't know if I could say that's the case.
Yeah, I mean, it's baseball, it's sports, anything's gonna happen. I mean, it could have a blister on his finger that could keep him out for a couple starts. I mean, that's literally like one of the worst injuries and nagging injuries in baseball is having a blister, and it just sucks because it can keep a starter out for weeks, actually.
Mm.
And I don't know. I think DeGrom will definitely be fine. He looks healthy, and that's just all that matters right now.
Yeah, man, DeGrom being healthy, that's just straight up good for baseball, as unfortunate as it is for the teams that are facing him. And a couple of those teams are actually in the NL wild card race. The Braves and the Phillies are the top two teams in the wild card right now. And like Alex mentioned earlier, all the margins are really close. The NL race, I'm honestly a little more interested in that than the AL race because it might be a hot take. A few of the teams in the AL wild card race, I don't really see any of them as contenders, if I'm going to be honest. And at minimum, the Braves, I definitely see them as a contender when it comes to the NL wild card. So this race, I'm definitely going to be keeping a closer eye on. I do think the Braves will end up taking it at least, and if they don't take the division. But the Padres did get better on paper. They haven't been showing it yet, but there's still time for them to gel. And I think it's possible that they go on an insane run in the second half, unlike last year when they fizzled out.
Yeah, I see what you're saying about with the Braves. I definitely do not think the division, we will win it this year. We are 7 games back as of right now. And this late into the season, it's a lot of work to do. We do have, I think, 6 more games, 7 more games maybe with the Mets, which, I mean, I did say it was a 7 game. If we win all those, we're back and tied in first with them. But that's just going to be something extremely hard to do. Last year at this time, this is about when the time the Mets, they hadn't already fallen out. They had really fallen out at this time. And I don't see that happening this year at all. They
Mhm.
look really good, and I'm sad because I want to win a division for the 5th year in a row, but that's probably not gonna happen, and like you said, Philly's in 2nd place right now, and Philly's one of the hottest teams in baseball. They've, I think, went on a 7 or 8 game win streak. They overtook the Padres for the 2nd spot by, win percentage right now. That's why they're ahead of the Padres at only 61 wins, and the Padres have 62. But like you said, I'm actually more interested in this race too. There's less teams involved. There's only really 4 teams, really 5 teams if you count the winner of the Central Division, because those are the only other 2 teams besides the Padres and Phillies and Braves who are in this right now.
Yeah, if I'm going to be honest, those two teams from the Central, the Cardinals and the Brewers, I personally think the Cardinals would push through instead of the Brewers because I think the Cardinals are a better team, even though they missed out on Juan Soto and that was entirely possible.
Yeah, and I think that's a huge miss for them, to be honest. I don't think it's really gonna affect their postseason and or not affect their postseason just to get there, but it will once they get in there. And Milwaukee Brewers just do not have an offense. I
Mm-mm.
do not know how they have 60 wins or whatever they're at right now, to be honest, because that offense is not very good. Their pitching is unbelievable. Brandon Woodruff is healthy now. Freddie Peralta's come back. Hopefully, he can look like his normal self again. And I mean, we all know who Corbin Burns is, Cy Young winner last year, but this team needs to get some offense together if they want to make a push to the playoffs.
And to be honest with you, I don't see it happening. I really see the Cardinals just kind of running away with it at some point of the second half. But yeah, this NL race, this is going to be wild because there's a lot going on. I like the Braves. I think they're safe and secured. If I'm going to be honest, I think they're going to hold a spot. I really want to see San Diego get there. Like I said earlier, personal bias kicking in right now, but Juan Soto is that guy, and he is that guy in the postseason. And I want to see that. I want to see Tatis in the postseason too, and Machado, I guess.
I mean, first, Tatis has got to come back healthy. We got
Mm-hmm.
to see him come back in the regular season first. But I mean, yeah, I want to see the Padres in the postseason too. Don't want to play them, but I want to see them.
I'm gonna be honest with you. As much as I wouldn't want to face a team like that on paper, I think the Braves are a better team. I think they would pull out a win in the series. But at the same time, if the Padres do end up gelling and figuring something out, that is a team I would definitely want to avoid. But as of right now, I would personally pick the Braves in a comfortable series win.
Yeah, I mean, I would too. I wouldn't be a Braves fan if I wouldn't. But yeah, we got better pitching all around. They may have the better closer now. It's kind of close between Kinley and Josh Hader, but I think our bullpen's deeper than theirs. Definitely got the better starting lineup. We got the best player in baseball named Austin Riley, just mashing baseballs left and right. But yeah, I definitely think that the Braves are better than them. And honestly, I think the Phillies are better than I gave them credit for earlier than this year because they are playing really good baseball right now. And without Bryce Harper, that's the key thing.
I'm a big fan of Bryce Harper. I really like the way he plays the game. But why is this happening when he's out? And why did the Nationals win right after he left? Is there something going on? Is there is there something up with Bryce Harper? Does he have some bad juju on him or something?
You may be onto something, but I don't think so. That's one of the best hitters in all of baseball.
Yeah, no, I can't say that about last year's MVP. But yeah, all jokes aside, these races, the second half of this season, it's really about to be nuts. And make sure to tune into that because we are about to see some competitive, top tier baseball going into October, and that's going to really set the tone for this postseason. I just can't wait. As for the boxing world this week, we just came off a pretty solid fight last Saturday with Vergil Ortiz stopping Michael McKinson in round 9. That was a really good fight, in my opinion. I don't want to say that Vergil was getting some ring rust off, but it really seemed like he was going for the kill at first, and things he wasn't finding things. And he actually said it himself. His dad was coming at him. It took about 3-4 rounds to get the message across to him, but once Vergil got it, he stuck to the initial game plan and killed McKinson to the body. Knocked him down 2 separate times just on body shots in round 8 and round 9. And then he was going in for the kill before McKinson's corner decided to wave the towel. And I think that was a good time to stop for his corner because it was only going to get worse from there. And it was already bad at that point.
Yeah, that was the perfect time to honestly throw in the towel. He was getting beat down. Virgil was just absolutely dominating him, and you don't want to see anyone get hurt, and you don't want to see anything else happen. But this was a really good fight for Virgil, and I think that it was definitely a showcase for him. And he's one of the next in up and coming boxers right now, young superstar, and I'm looking forward to see where he's going to go next.
Yeah, definitely. And when it comes to Virgil and also Boots Ennis, to be honest with you, those borderline top guys at 147, I think both of them deserve title shots, but there's priorities right now. Spence versus Crawford. There's news on that. That's potentially about to get signed soon, and that is huge.
Hopefully.
Hopefully, but that is huge. And once that gets situated, Crawford and Spence, I could see either one or both moving up to 154. So those titles they'll be out for grabs. And Virgil and Boots definitely deserve those as much as possible because I feel like they've been knocking at the door for a while now. Unfortunately, nobody's been answering.
Yeah, it is unfortunate, but where do you think Virgil's going to go after this? Who do you think he fights next?
Unfortunately for Virgil, I think that he's going to have to go through a fight to, let time pass. Potentially, if Spence Crawford happens or it's even announced, and move from there because I think he's ready for a title shot. Not saying that I think
Oh,
he
for
beats
sure.
Spencer Crawford. I'm not saying I think he beats one of them right now. But say it's a vacant title once either one of them does something, or even if whoever wins that fight between those two defends their title, I think Virgil deserves the shot for sure. My only thing is, I'm not sure who would deserve the shot first between him and Boots.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I think Virgil would have the shot first. I just think he's better in my opinion. But who would you rather see him fight? Spence or Crawford? I mean, regardless of who won.
Dang, that's a tough question. As of right now, I think both of them beat Virgil. Um, for Virgil's sake, I would rather watch him fight Spence. When it comes to top tier boxing, it's close, but I would edge it out towards rather seeing him against Crawford because I personally think Crawford's a better boxer than Spence, and I think Crawford would beat Virgil worse than Spence. Both beating him though. So for Virgil's for Virgil's sake, I'll say Spence.
Yeah, I can see that. I definitely don't see him beating either of them, like you said. It's gonna be a good fight though. It's gonna be a test for him, and I hope he can get someone. Virgil can get someone better here in the future. I mean, this past weekend it was no slouch, but I want to see some better competition for Virgil to really get a better judge on him.
No, I feel that. My credit to Michael McKinson, really solid boxer. No slouch at all, like Alex said. But no power to his name, if I'm going to be honest. 2 knockouts in 22 fights
Not
leading up to
very
the
good.
fight. Not very
No
good.
pop.
And a guy like Vergil, he's a fucking bulldog with power of himself. He's gonna get inside. If you can't make him respect any sort of power, that'll make him, try to keep his distance and be hesitant to get inside. It's inevitable at that, and that's what this fight showed. It took some time for Virgil to figure it out and to start landing consistently, but once he did, he was landing some disgusting body shots, dude. Like I was pissing blood just fucking watching.
That's that's not good, but yeah, I mean, he had some nasty body shots. I mean, this dude has some tremendous raw power that I didn't even think he had that much. So it's kind of crazy after watching this fight, seeing how good he actually is.
Yeah, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what Virgil has in for the future. And before we move on to this upcoming fight next week, I want to say that obviously Virgil would have to wait for Spence and Crawford to get things situated. I want to see a tough test in between for Virgil. Like, all right, this is just a random name, but I'm talking about like of this tier. Imagine Virgil versus like Keith Thurman to wait. That'd be a huge fight. I would love to see something like that.
Yeah, I think that would be a really good fight for him too. I mean, Keith Thurman, he's a proven vet. He's never really been the best in his class, but he's been pretty solid throughout his career. And for a young guy like him, I think that's like a perfect fight for him, to be honest. That would definitely bolster his resume and would be a good boost up to get
Mhm.
to Crawford or Spence.
No, definitely. And even disregarding like the next step to get to Crawford and Spence, just overall as a boxer, I think that would be huge for him. Just because Keith Thurman, I would slightly favor Virgil in that matchup, but Keith Thurman is no joke. He can he can do somebody real dirty, like he did with Mario Barrios in his last fight. He did him dirty that fight, even though it went the whole distance. But yeah, that would be a huge fight for Virgil. I would love to see him get in there with Keith Thurman. But as for fights that I don't think would go the distance, you got this fight coming up this weekend. You got Teofimo Lopez's debut in super lightweight. He's up against Pedro Campa, somebody who I'm not that familiar with, but it's definitely appropriate. It's definitely appropriate considering that this is Teofimo's first fight at 140. And as much criticism as I've given Teofimo, I think he's a really good fighter, and I'm actually looking forward to seeing this.
Yeah, and I'm really looking forward to this fight, especially since this is his first fight since his first loss. And losing to Kambosos was definitely not on his radar. I don't think it was on anyone's radar. I did not expect him to lose to Kambosos, and I don't think Christian did either.
Not at all.
But he is definitely working his way back. It's a new division, and Christian may not be big of a fan of him, but I really like Teofimo Lopez, and I'm looking forward to this fight.
No, I feel that, and I really did mess with Teofimo for a while. His dad threw me off all the time, but if we're talking about Teofimo, I'm gonna just speak on Teofimo. But I feel like he's been out of pocket lately. This man doubled down and said he still thinks he won the fight against Kambosos, and it was a close fight. I'm not gonna take that away from him, but I do think it was a clear Kambosos won more, like one or two more rounds. I'm not even that mad that he doubled down on thinking that he won the fight. This man proceeded to say that he's the greatest of his era and generation when your resume, your entire resume is a winner versus Lomachenko, to be honest. He's getting way too ahead of himself, and I do not like that at all.
I mean, he's under 25 years old too. You can't say you're the greatest of your era when there's gonna be more boxers that come up. Like, it makes no sense.
And
I
Lomachenko
love the respect, or not the respect. I love the, what's it called? Fuck, what
confidence.
am I yeah, I love the confidence he's trying to put in himself, but it's a little too confident right now.
I don't even want to say it's confidence because it's like there's confidence and then there's the delusion. I'm gonna say delusion. Lomachenko's great. Don't get me wrong. He's a great fighter. Solid chance to make the Hall of Fame with some of the records he's matched or even broken. But Lomachenko's not even the best of his era. You beat Lomachenko and you think you're the best of your era when he's not the best of his era? Sorry, no.
Also, Lomachenko was hurt. He had
Exactly.
shoulder
So,
surgery the Monday after the fight against Lopez, so if I would love to see that fight happen again, to be honest, a Lopez Lomachenko. I think Lopez or not Lopez, Lomachenko would actually win. So he cannot call himself the greatest of his era. It's that's a joke.
yeah, no, definitely. And when it comes to Loma's injury, I believe it. I honestly, most of the time, I would take a fighter's word unless it's blatantly obvious they're capping about something. And Teofimo came out with the fact that he had an injury going into the Kambosos fight. So I'm not gonna try to claim like the only reason Loma beat you was because he was hurt when he had to deal with something like that before too. And I don't see many people making that excuse for him. That's the one thing I will say in Teofimo's defense. And honestly, screw his dad. Screw his dad.
No,
Hate him.
I see. I know what you're saying there. Yeah. But to kind of bring us back on the track to this fight, the Teofimo Campa fight. How do you see this fight going? I know you said you don't see it going the distance. So where do you see it ending?
I'm seeing early to mid round stoppage for Teofimo. I think he'll start this division off with a bang. I think Teofimo is the type of fighter that his power will carry up in weight. So I think that he's gonna have solid pop at 140 still. It's just a matter of how comfortable he feels once the bell rings. If it takes him a second to get feeling right, I could see mid to early late round stoppage. But if not, I don't want to say round one, but within the first 3 rounds, if he comes out guns blazing, who knows? And not to take credit away from Pedro Campa, I don't really know anything about him. And I'm not saying that I'm like a boxing encyclopedia. If I've never heard of somebody, they're irrelevant. That's furthest from the truth. But his record doesn't really impress me at all either from what I've seen. So I really do think that this is going to be a stoppage in Teofimo's favor. It's a 10-round fight, which is it's understandable since it's a non-title fight that happens a decent amount. But considering Teofimo's already been at a world championship level, I'm surprised. So if he doesn't want to get screwed over on scorecards, according to him again, he's gonna have to get it done, and he's gonna have to get it done fast because he's got 2 less rounds to get things going.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I definitely think it's not going to be a quick stoppage. I think he may have to feel him out for a round or two. Being in a new division may be a little different. I mean, you never know. Teofimo is one of the most aggressive fighters. But if I had to take a pick, I'm going back to all round number 7.
I knew it. I knew it.
I'm gonna pick a 7-round knockout. Hey, it's 2 less rounds too, so it could happen. I mean, hey, I got the last fight right. It not the Vergil one, but the one before, and it went the distance. So I went away from my 7 rounds. Now I'm back to it. So it's gonna be a 7-round knockout. I have a feeling.
Man, if Teofimo comes through, I feel like you'd put him at like your top 3 pound for pound.
No,
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 I'm messing with
no, not even close. Won't even crack the top 10.
you. No, I feel that. It's just somebody getting that round 7 prediction, that would be huge. That would be huge because it's been a while.
Yeah, no one's won in the 7th round yet when I predicted it. It's gonna happen eventually, and I'm gonna be so happy when it happens.
Yeah. You got Teofimo making his super lightweight debut coming up this Saturday. I'm really looking forward to it as much as I have to say about Teofimo. I enjoy watching him fight. He's got a great fighting style. He's got good pop, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he's going to do. And hopefully, not saying I want him to take a punch hard. Hopefully, he gets a punch that knocks some sense into him, and then he figures it out. That's what I'm hoping.
And that does it for another episode of the All Takes No Ifs podcast. This was another great episode. I just love talking about baseball and boxing, to be honest. So we had a great time talking about the AL and NL wild card and the new Kings of New York and the New York Mets, as much as I do not like saying that. But if y'all want, make sure that you subscribe and like. Comment below who your favorite Major League Baseball team is. We would love to know y'all's favorite teams.
Yeah, it'd be great to know who our viewers' favorite teams are. Definitely could let me know who to send some shots at. No, but seriously, you guys can also let us know on any of our social medias. You can find us on Facebook at All Takes No Whiffs Podcast, and you can find our Twitter at ATNW Podcast. If you want, you could find my personal at Christian_S52.
And you can also follow mine at ahendy2215. This was another great week, and we're looking forward to another great episode next week. Peace.
Peace.